Perfect.
I love this baseball slate for whatever it's worth.
I'm going to need you to mute playback. You were Mr. Echo there. And I don't mean the guy from Lost.
I think it's probably you.
Is it me?
Yeah, mine's muted. So thanks for being nice to me right off the bat.
It was me.
I know it was fucking A.
I did hit the button to mute it, and then it wasn't there.
It's all right. Thanks for the sarcasm already. It's a good start.
And we are live. Welcome to NBA Live Before Lock. It is Sunday, May 5th. I am Josh Engleman. I'm joined by Eric Lindquist. We are brought to you by Betr, and we have Gary Harris in the starting lineup for the Magic, which honestly was a little surprising. But we also got the news just before we started. Jarrett Allen not going to be with us here for Cleveland today, so we can start to look at everything that this slate is going to be. We have 30 minutes to get there. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter. What's good, man? Happy weekend.
Happy weekend. Good for you for your Liverpool start. Happy that they're up 2-0 for you here, because really with being a Man U supporter, I have no dog in any Premier League fight at the moment. Tottenham is always fun to watch be miserable too, but I am enjoying this, just putting together. And I didn't know if Gary Harris was going to start or not. I thought there was a chance he might just be an emergency backup in some capacity, but no, starting, going back to like game 5 rotations for them, looking at the board. And then we're going to be running back game 5 and game 6 here for Cleveland, but a lot of things in flux considering Okoro's back in the starting lineup.
Yeah, we got one ahead of us now. Are you excited for this game? Because I am.
Yeah, well, definitely, because I mean, if Jarrett Allen were healthy, that's not the best situation. I mean, they have a go-to scorer in Donovan Mitchell. They would have 2 really, really strong rebounders going up against a Celtics team without Kristaps Porzingis for this round. I think that would be really intriguing. And Orlando's like a young and up-and-coming, they're the poor man's Minnesota Timberwolves in the Eastern Conference right now. I think it's going to be enjoyable to watch a 195 total game, because it should be really, really competitive like most games. Well, I guess the last 2 this series.
Yeah, it should be fun. So we've got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about it differently than we normally do, since we only have one game here. Start to find our sea legs for these showdown slates, because we're going to have a few in the near future. And it's just going to be showdowns for a while once the second round gets moving. But let's just dive into it. We don't have a ton of time, so we're going to talk captains to start. So hit that like button, folks. 27 minutes to go until lock. Do you have any preferred captain options? I ran all my stuff prior to us getting started. I'm going to have to rerun it now with Jarrett Allen officially out. But are you looking at anybody specifically in the captain spot that stands out to you?
Yeah, I think there's 2 for me. 1, Donovan Mitchell, 2, Franz Wagner. And not just because of the last game there. Franz Wagner's had some pretty crazy home road splits in this. Obviously, 3 games that you win, Franz Wagner's played really well. 3 games they've lost. Franz Wagner's basically played like shit in Cleveland here. But I think 15-3, when you put him in the captain spot, is kind of making my lineups get to some of the ancillary pieces that I really want to. And I think Franz Wagner scoring the basketball going to be very, very important for Orlando here. Paolo Banchero, now with the floor being 2K for some of these players on the other side, where you can't necessarily true punt as much on other slates, but we have Ingles, we have Thompson now, George Niang as well. We're going to have some 2K options to rotate through. So I think it does give you more access to Donovan Mitchell than what I was expecting earlier this morning.
My 3 most exposed captains before I got this started were Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Wendell Carter Jr., who was not pulling a ton of ownership in the captain spot earlier, and probably frees up a decent enough amount of money on the flex side to not have to go like real weird. And this one's obviously going to be a lot different in that we don't have a Nikola Jokic with a $25,000 price tag or whatever the hell it was yesterday in Showdown. We don't have that same sort of pay up option. So that extra salary might really help just load up 5 guys at the flex. We were projecting earlier today around 30% ownership to Donovan Mitchell in that captain spot. That's the one that starts to get crazy because he's going to take every shot. He looked amazing in game 6, just getting bucket after bucket after bucket. But a third of the lineups kind of scares me. I'm curious to see what we start looking at when we get ownership officially, when we could run some sims down this stretch. Have you seen if we've gotten an ownership update yet?
Not yet. No,
we do have a
4 minutes
projections.
ago, we got a projections update, but yeah, waiting on ownership. Which obviously, for everybody joining, I think this is the first Showdown slate that we've had the entire season.
We got ownership 3 minutes ago.
Awesome. Okay, I just refreshed it again here.
Donovan Mitchell 26% captain, Banchero 20, Darius Garland 15. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll probably get another update that stabilizes a little bit after all of this news, but that's what it's looking like on our first run of ownership. So now that we have that run, does any ownership at captain stand out to you as more interesting than you were expecting?
Yeah, Franz Wagner right off the bat, 6.6% captain ownership is just jumping out to me like crazy, mainly because Paolo Banchero, you're going to see more Evan Mobley as a result. And it creates an opportunity, I think, for Franz Wagner to have to be like the go-to guy there. When they've had Jaren out on the floor, they'd move that over to Wendell Carter. And then, yeah, it'd be pretty simple to see Paolo Banchero. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be a difficult spot on the road in Cleveland as it is, no matter what. But obviously, no Jared Allen, good for some of the offensive pieces. Cleveland for some of the floor spacing, definitely going to be much, much worse on the defensive side of things. But yeah, I see 6.6% ownership for Franz Wagner, and that just looks ridiculously good.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I expect him to be a guy that I have, like 20, 25% of in the captain spot. Just seems like a natural spot to get heavier. Same story for me for Wendell Carter Jr. I'm expecting him to still be for me to still be over the field at that captain spot. Garland's the one that scares me a little bit. I can see Donovan Mitchell sort of monopolizing him out of the game from a captain's perspective. I think the utility ownership is really interesting. We'll get to that in a bit. Are there any like extra special flyers you see as captain options?
Yep, Cole Anthony. Like if I'm going to get ridiculous. So let's just go through this because Gary Harris, I didn't think he was going to end up playing. But here we are again. Hamstring injury does freak me out a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we saw him. I mean, they trusted him at the end of that game 6. I mean, he ended up being out there a lot longer in that fourth quarter. He played all the way to the 104 mark. He played 11 minutes in that fourth quarter, which is still pretty wild to me. If push comes to shove, if they're going to be playing to like a game script neutral situation, you're down 4 or 5 going into the fourth quarter. Cole Anthony, I think that's somebody that obviously can go and get you a bucket. He played pretty well in that fourth quarter, all things considered. He was a plus 10 in that rotation. And I feel as though you're going to trust that more than like a Gary Harris if he's looking off to me. I will say it was also surprising to see him play way more than Markelle Fultz in that final closing or in that fourth quarter there. Didn't play more than him for the game for what it's worth. So that's worth noting. But I think if you're trying to just jam all of the main studs, what happens though, it's the same thing Alex Baker always told me when we did shows together, a couple of years ago as I was getting going. He's just like, yeah, you're going to run into like the exact same lineups by going down to the bottom here. But I think just doing a couple of hand builds here before the show and now with the news of Gary Harris being in, I do think Cole Anthony steps into a spot where like you play the other guys and then you avoid the Okoro 3K piece and you go down to the 2K range. And I think that there's a way of doing that where you leave salary on the table where you can get a little bit different. But my one of my top 20 lineups is Cole Anthony captain with all the studs in Okoro right now after I just ran everything.
I didn't have any Cole Anthony captain prior to running everything, but he was in 65% of my flex spots. Ownership hasn't really changed on him, so I'm anticipating him being a fairly prominent dude, at least in the utility for me in comparison to if I get any shares of captain, I'm going to be okay with it just because of his price, but I think I'm going to be overloaded to him as a value option. a little bit further down the line. Do you want to talk at all about any further captain stuff?
I guess just because it's the first time that we've done a showdown show, just letting people know it used to be a 1K floor in the utility. Now it's a 2K floor. And I guess for me, my theorizing of why they've done that, again, I don't think it happened before. I didn't play a lot of showdown during the regular season.
Yeah.
My evenings are pretty jammed, and usually the biggest showdown contest is like that 7:30 p.m. Pacific or 10:30 Eastern time, and would generally be doing other stuff. But with the 2K floor there, I do think it makes it interesting, where people used to just be jamming like Jokic up top, and then it would just be like three of the like main guys, and then just a pure punt. It's harder to pure punt at 2K, but it's
Yeah.
not today. And I think that that's creating me still jumping up to the Mitchell, Boncaro, Garland, who I think is going to play a couple more minutes than is projected just about everywhere, and Franz Wagner, Evan Mobley into that grouping. It's going to be hard to get away from those top five. So while I said Cole Anthony is somebody that's there, I'm talking about in like, I'm playing 40 lineups in like two of them potentially. Like, I'm not saying that it's going to be like some foregone conclusion, but like, it's really hard to get away from the top of the board with this kind of a slate today.
We're going to be very quick about this statement because I think we're on the same page here. Franz Wagner, exotic play of the day.
Yes, by leaps and bounds.
Yeah. Not really any other direction that you can go there.
Sam Merrill,
Max
DNP.
Strus, I guess.
Max Strus, I guess. Well, where's Max Strus been this entire series? I mean, this is just weird to see like 39 minutes of like nothing ball. I mean, I guess he had 10 points last game. Congratulations, sir. But like averaged like 12, 13 or whatever it was on the season. Like 12.1. There you go. Hasn't really been a factor at all, and thought he'd be somebody who might benefit in this type of a matchup where everybody else is at some tough spots, but is what it is. Oh, we're running the exotic thing right now. There we go. Just got to run it for the people.
Oh, sure. There's just there's only so much you could do in a showdown slate. I think we really only have two actual options. Well, Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner, Max Strus. That's it, right?
Yep. That's pretty much it. Always fun to go through that.
That'll do it, folks. That'll do it for your exotic plays of the day. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the flex. We want to make sure that we're talking about it here. Very flat ownership. Like we have 47% going to Mitchell. And then if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 guys down, you get to Fultz at 29. Like that's not the biggest gap in the world. It's a pretty smooth drop off. There's nobody just separating from the pack immediately. Who's getting slept on as a flex option today? Because it's very easy to be like, yeah, Donovan Mitchell looks pretty good.
Donovan Mitchell is going to probably be in 100% of my lineups in some capacity. I mean, that's just kind of going to be what it is. Captain utility. I find him pretty impossible looking at his points prop, everything else. Barring injury, it's hard for me to have many lineups where Donovan Mitchell wouldn't be a part of it. But I think right now, the main conversation I want to have is what we're going to do with Marcus Morris, which is kind of a weird spot to start. But without him starting, the range of outcomes on these minutes, I mean, we've seen now, 26, 27 back-to-back, regardless of him starting or not. But does that continue here? I mean, we've seen Orlando go to some larger lineups to try to force their hand into more Marcus Morris minutes where, he didn't shoot the ball well last time out. It is what it is. But I think Isaac Okoro, probably somebody who moves way up the board for me just having started, but like, is he going to be at 32% to Marcus Morris's 31.6%? If that's going to be identical, give me all the Okoro in all the world. But I feel like with Okoro starting, we might see Marcus Morris dip off a little bit from that 31.6% ownership. And it is a game 7. We're going to see whoever is playing well get more run. We're going to see, if Marcus Morris comes out and knocks down shots in his first rotation, and a Marcus Strus or an Isaac Okoro or somebody else isn't being functional offensively, they might see more run there for Marcus Morris. And I think just equal ownership next to both of them here, it's kind of got me a little bit freaked out because I think I'm going to have a lot of interest in just jamming Okoro in that right. But what do you think about Marcus Morris?
Scares the hell out of me today. I just go back to what my mind says. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but what my mind is telling me is that Marcus Morris shouldn't be a guy that like the Cavs have to lean on in a game 7 closeout on their own floor. Like that just feels so incredibly incorrect that they got to like get to that dude, that I want to lean more on someone like Isaac Okoro. Now, I might run this. I'm a couple seconds away from running all of my stuff. When I do, this might just be the Marcus Morris show, and I find out that everything that I just said is a load of horse shit. But I just have a hard time believing that that's the answer. A guy that wasn't really playing is just going to, and probably shouldn't be playing, is just going to like become the necessary piece. I'd rather be wrong.
See, I kind of like the way you're saying that, where it's like, I'd rather be wrong. I think that's something that I'm willing to embrace in Showdown all the time, is like, I'm looking for the disparity between what everybody else thinks is going to happen and then what I think the range of outcomes actually are. Because we're going to see, again, the reason that I'm saying 100% to Donovan Mitchell is I feel like I'm just better off jamming him and having, the 15% that don't want to play Donovan Mitchell in either captain or utility. I'm much happier trying to go up against those people in that type of a stance than going down here and just saying, oh, Marcus Morris. Like there's more punishment that's going to come off of, trying to be perfect here. I feel like Okoro is going to see this major ownership spike now that he's the one starting. And the last 2 games, I mean, again, it's small sample and Cleveland, for all intents and purposes, played well enough to win in game 5. It still wasn't perfect by any means. And then Donovan Mitchell had the kind of game where you would expect them to win. It just didn't even happen there. It was a ridiculous all hands on deck effort from Orlando. But I'm with you, where in my mind, I'm saying Marcus Morris shouldn't be projecting him for 20-ish minutes. But yet here I am, because it's like, I don't know what else to do if they go to Isaac, Wendell Carter, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero in the same lineup like they did in that second quarter, in portions of that third quarter. Like for me, it's just really hard to see that large of a lineup and see, oh shit, we're going to have Garland, Mitchell, and Okoro out there. It's like they need to have some type of size there. So maybe it ends up being something where we see out of the middle of nowhere Tristan Thompson playing alongside Mobley at some point, but I don't think that's going to happen, considering they just haven't done it here. From the looks of it, Tristan Thompson's playing backup center minutes behind Mobley. So I don't know what else to do other than to give 20 plus minutes to Morris, just because of the lineup on the other side.
35% Franz Wagner captain for me right now. Okay. So feels about right. 65% of Cole Anthony in the flex. That all feels about right. I have 35% of Okoro, so very close to neutral to the field. One lineup with Marcus Morris. I feel pretty good about that. My big fade seems to be Evan Mobley. Not mad about it. Everything that I'm looking at is just telling me you are cheering for the Orlando Magic to win game 7.
Yeah, I get that. I'm getting more Mitchell captain here now too, now that I updated this stuff. I'm actually overweight to him now. I was about neutral. I said that I was going to play him there, but Franz Wagner was always the captain that I wanted to get to the most from the Orlando side. If Orlando, again, to the game script you're talking about, Franz Wagner played really, really well in all of the wins. I think he's had like 1 turnover in 3 games of the wins that they've had. And then he's kind of been a turnover machine here in Cleveland. But what am I going to do? It's 3-game sample size. We're looking more at the rotations and what can happen in that regard, because that's something that you kind of almost need recency bias for, as opposed to like yearly rates for things. Like we've seen Orlando play awesome at home all season long, but Franz Wagner for me just going to be the key to the entire thing, because captain, I've got him in 28% now too.
The key to everything that I think exists, signing up for Betr. You can double your first deposit up to $500. It's traditional pick'em style, but you have up to 100x payouts if you correctly select up to 8 picks. They're also a very nice part of Odds Shopper. Perfect opportunity to sign up for Odds Shopper if you're looking for more plays at Betr. Odds Shopper's got you locked and loaded. Expected value, expected win rate, all of it right in front of you. A Betr optimizer, so you can just immediately get the plays that you're looking for, build out your card, head on over to Betr, load it in, and then play through that deposit bonus that we just talked about. Again, up to $500. If you find out you love Betr, great. You have a much bigger bankroll. play through it and you find out you hate Betr, you could be somewhere else if you would like to be. The legal age for gambling in most states is 21 or over. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Who are you fading?
Kind of Evan Mobley a little bit with you. I'm underweight
Okay.
to him. Out of all the key guys up top, Mitchell, Banchero, Garland, Mobley, Wagner, he's the one I'm the most comfortable being overweight to. Saw the absolute smash of the game 5, saw the absolute floor in game 6. I think we're going to probably run into something there in the middle. But as you work through the options at their current ownerships here, I think, we're going to see Mitchell just pull infinity ownership as he should. Banchero pulling infinity ownership as he probably should. And then for me, it's just getting way overweight to Garland, maybe not necessarily in the captain spot. 14.7% ownership now for him in captain. I've got him for eternal minutes. I see a lot of scenarios where they just don't take Garland or Mitchell off the floor in the entire second half. I think that that's more than warranted. And Garland, 56.2% ownership there on him. I'm much more what am I trying to say? I'm trying to just embrace all of that I possibly can. Whereas Mobley, 54%, going to have more of the defensive responsibilities. Anybody guarding guys on the perimeter there, specifically just, Suggs, Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz, going to be a little bit easier sledding than an Evan Mobley going up against Banchero. So I do think just being overweight to Garland, underweight to Mobley is a good way to go about it. And then Wendell Carter, I'm curious how you're getting to just a ton of him there at 5,800. He kind of feels like a guy that I'm not glossing over, but I've been on his PRA for the last, 2 slates now, 2.5, three games. I'm not betting it today. Everything just looks a little bit inflated to me from a DFS perspective, though. 5,800, I just find myself landing so much in the 3K, 2K range. Maybe I'm holding hands with too many people, but talk to me a little bit about Wendell Carter, because I currently am way underweight to him in the utility at 50%.
So I'm dead neutral to him right now, but I do have a couple shares of him in the captain spot. I think it's just a playing time thing. Like, they've established him well north of 30 minutes over these past 2 games. It seems like that's what they've landed on, that moving to him in that starting lineup and just playing him full bore seems to be what they want to do. It certainly didn't hurt them at all, last time out, and picked up the dub. So I'm assuming he's playing like 32, 33 minutes, potentially more if things are going well. They had a lot of trouble protecting the rim and stopping Mitchell from getting there when Mo Wagner was out there. So you might see a little bit more Wendell Carter Jr. I just think that his playing time, barring any foul trouble, is sort of set in that high 30-minute range where you kind of have to get in and around the field on him, because I don't think that there's much utility going either direction.
Okay. I totally get what you're saying there. For me, it's just, that was the whole thing, is that I wanted to see those closing lineups before. I was pretty convinced that if that game was more competitive in game 3 or 4, we would have saw Wendell Carter close. He did close in 5, 6, continues on. Like, things are good for his minutes. I think I'm completely with you. We're like, hey, he played from the 8-10 mark the whole way home last time out. In a must-win game, they're probably going to run it out the same way. I think this is a spot, though. Do we just have to trim Jonathan Isaac to an extreme extent based on last game then? Because that feels almost wrong to me too, where it's like Jonathan Isaac is knocking down corner threes, or Wendell Carter's not doing what he needs to defensively there. Again, 35.5 minutes for him. Jonathan Isaac, 23. Ooh. Is that going to be something that maintains? Go ahead.
Liverpool scored two more goals. I can't even talk right now. They're up 4-0. I didn't even know.
Oh, good Lord. Who scored them?
Don't know. I was in the middle of trying to figure out. I'm pretty sure John Isaac. I know John Isaac didn't have a point last time out.
No, he did.
He was 0 for what from the field?
Infinity.
He was 0 for 5 from the field. 9 rebounds, 1 block, no assists. Like, does that go better? Does he play more or less than 23 minutes? He is a bit of a wild card. I can tell you this much. I only have 10% of him at the flex, so I am against John Isaac today.
Yeah, he's there. He's like their Mike Timberwolves. Jaden McDaniels yesterday played awesome defensively, 0 points on the floor. Awesome stuff. Really fun to watch. Nope, didn't help me either. But anyway, I am very much in the camp that that Wendell Carter will close more than likely, but in a game 7, you just never know. There's going to be some piece, something from one of these two teams that just comes out of the blue, and it's going to be based on how they're playing. Maybe Jonathan Isaac knocks down some shots, but I mean, I guess we're not seeing that much of a disparity. For me, I'm probably going to 27.5% ownership on Isaac. This might be something where I end up trimming that here in the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Do you have your lineups in yet?
I have one set in, so I put a set in, so I'm not panicking too much. It won't
Okay.
vary too much.
I could hit everybody with apparently Gakpo and Elliott were the goals. Thank you, Scott Reed. My most exposed guys right now. I have 95% of Franz Wagner. That's going to be 35% at the captain, 60% at the flex. Just big old Franz Wagner stand. Banchero is my second most exposed guy. Oh boy. Okay, go Magic. Franz 95%. Paolo 85. Suggs 80. Cole Anthony 65. Wendell Carter Jr. 55. Markelle Fultz 40. Now I finally get to Garland and Mitchell, both in 40%. Big Donovan Mitchell fade for me overall. 82% owned in the aggregate across captain and utility. I have half of that number.
So let's get to the bottom of the range in the last minute or two as people are finishing out their lineups. How much Tristan Thompson? How much Max Strus? How much of these guys that are pulling a lot less ownership?
0 Tristan Thompson.
Okay.
25% Strus. Only 5% Marcus Morris. 5% Mo Wagner. One lineup with Karis LeVert. So not a lot at the bottom.
Okay. Just wanted to throw that in for the people here too. I'm playing more Marcus Morris. I hate it. I absolutely hate how much more. I'm playing 50% Marcus Morris, so he'll be in half my lineups. I hate it. I just think there's more minutes there, even off the bench, that could potentially be there. And I have a feeling when we get to the flip, we're going to see Isaac Okoro popular. Not that I'm fading Isaac Okoro by any means, people, but I do think that this is going to be very, very dependent upon how this game starts off. And I'm kind of with you where I'm getting to a lot of these chalkier. Well, I mean, everything's chalky. It's a fucking showdown, but a lot more of the Orlando side of things, along with Mitchell and Garland, and just kind of playing the elite Orlando guys ad nauseum. And so if I'm going to do that, probably if they're going to succeed and play really, really well here, Marcus Morris probably ends up on the floor earlier and often as opposed to Okoro.
I'm making a couple tweaks just to bring down some of that Jalen Suggs. It's a little bit bigger of a stand than I need it to be right now. I don't think I have. It's basically all Franz and Paolo for me. Franz Paolo is the key for everything that I've got going on today.
I'm with you.
Team Orlando Magic, apparently.
Yeah. I think we're going to see more captain on Donovan Mitchell based on last one. We're going to see more captain on Paolo Banchero, and Banchero's in a really just undesirable spot against Mobley. He's very, very good.
I accidentally hit that lock button on my keyboard again, and everything on my screen just went away. I was like, "Oh no!" Now I did it. Right, yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I have here right now. So I'm just going to I'm going to lock and load these lineups, get them uploaded. Who do you think wins? Are you going Orlando in your mind, or do you think it's Cleveland because they're at home?
I think it's probably Cleveland. It's hard to pick against Cleveland. I will be cheering for Orlando. I would rather see Orlando and Boston at this point. I do think Cleveland, if you have a healthy Jared Allen, is more equipped to beat Boston, but I'd rather see the young team, Orlando, a team that I think is probably one piece away from really contending in the East. I don't know what that piece would be right now, but
Paul George.
That would be an amazing piece. Paul George would be the perfect fit on this team. I'm thinking just any kind of wing, Kawhi, if you could keep Kawhi healthy or anything like that. But yeah, Paul George would be outrageously good for this basketball team.
Yeah, I would like that. We have 90 seconds until lock. Where the hell did this half hour go?
It was super quick. Well, that's one of the nice things about being busy and about putting together your stuff. And I haven't built out a showdown sheet for, I don't know, probably since last playoffs. So for NBA stuff was just kind of working through a couple of the minor tweaks. Again, the 2K floor is an interesting thing we'll probably talk about a little bit more because it does get you away from the 1K punt where you could play 4 key guys, and it just made it a little bit easier. With the 2K floor, there'll be other slates coming up soon where it's holy crap, this is really, really hard to build, and it'll be much more enjoyable.
Who's the nuke of the night?
Franz Wagner. We can't go against our guy now.
So he's the white nuke of the night. That's to get them both is quite the honor.
He should truly just live up to the hype. Then that would be great.
Well, he's my
Do
most
it.
exposed guy, so I hope that he is also the nuke of the night. Exotic, white, nuke, no matter what it is, Franz Wagner is going to take it all. And then I think Evan Mobley, given the amount that I have, is my Amber Heard play of the day here. I think, like if he channels what he's supposed to be, he becomes a real problem for me.
Yep. Very, very true. Amber Heard, when she sees the bed section at IKEA, hilarious. I like that.
We locked.
All right.
We're already at the top of the hour. Guys,
Unreal.
good luck today. Enjoy it. We're back tomorrow. 2-gamer for tomorrow. That should be fun. We got a normal slate. I'll see you guys on the strategy show in the morning. What do you got? You got Lindy's coming up tonight?
Yeah, NBA and MLB. Lindy's doing that every evening. I've been jumping in, doing some like Twitter, and now it'll be on playback streams with Aton. So we'll be doing that throughout the week. Got live before lock with you all week. Got a bunch of other stuff coming up. So yeah, I'll be staying busy. You guys can follow me over at Eric Lindquist on X. I'm usually posting whatever I'm up to there.
Of course, the moment that I'm like, yo, Liverpool's up 4-0. It's 4-1.
Nah, it's okay. You don't need a clean sheet.
No, but least favorite player on the planet scored for Tottenham. So suck it, Richarlison. Enjoy this L that you're about to catch over the next 28 minutes or 18 minutes. And let's go watch some basketball. Game 7, go Magic. And shout out to Betr. We'll talk to you later.